So this is not a lecture, it's very casual meetings. So I will talk a bit, you heard about myself, but it will be nice to have questions from you. I know that you can be shy, but let's keep very casual. You heard that I have a long career in design as a designer and as a teacher. And I was lucky enough to work in many different countries. I graduated a long time ago with a project, it was my thesis degree. I always go back to that of course my thesis I did when I was a student. And what I want to tell you, the school is very important to build your career for the future. I was not a very traditional designer, so always try to break the boundaries of what design is, instead to make a product, something to work on innovation, something that didn't exist. So my thesis consists in a wearable computer. We are talking more than 40 years ago. Computers, you were not born yet. And the computers were big machines and very slow. So the idea was at that time that the computer will be, the technology will allow to shrink computer as much as possible, and then so much to bring on the body as the product that we use every day, like a watch, like glasses, and so on. So part of the brain. So we don't have any images here, but anyway, the computer was something that when you using were kind of crazy things like this, normal, but when you were not using, instead of putting your bag, to disassemble it and bring on your body as jewels. That was very innovative at that time, and I sent to a competition, and I won this international competition in Japan, where I was invited, and this was many years ago, so it was something that opened my doors to international field. And that project was so innovative that was published in a lot of magazines, design and fashion, because it was a jewel at the end. And it's probably the most published project ever done in any design school worldwide. It was published more than 80 times all around the world. So this opened, and now, after many years, is part of the design collection at the Henry Ford Museum in Detroit. So everything started from there. I was following some visionary faculty, instructor, professor. They were really pushing me to work on innovation, not just to design better product, that we are already plenty of them, but to think about the future, what the needs are, how the life-changing will style, and so on. This was the beginning of my career. This project opened many doors, and I moved to Japan, where I was invited to teach. I was very young at that time. I was invited to teach, and this opened because of, I open a parenthesis. Italian education is not much structure like in other country. You learn something, boom, and you are professional in making stuff with hands, or to think about something else, or to bring. We are mixing of everything. I don't know if you are familiar, but in the Renaissance, the people in the workshop were doing everything, painting, sculptures, whatever. So we have this kind of background that we can think out of the box on a lot of different things. So in Japan, I start to work with my partner, that we were both students at that time. We work on that project, and we start to make interiors. Artworks, interior, restaurant, bars, whatever. Artworks for big corporation. Corporation were building a skyscraper, we were doing artwork outside of that. To watch the slides and the images, you can go to my website and you can see, to connect whatever I'm telling with whatever we have done. And at a certain point, I was also keeping one foot in education, and I decided to do both, education and profession. But then I decided that since I was working on innovation and I wanted to change the world. I don't know if some of you want to change the world. The new generation is more, safe. Our generation want to change the world, and I was leader of that movement to change everything. And and so I decided that to really change the world was very important to deal with the new generation. So education became my main job. And I started to do that in Japan, where I stayed for 2 years. Then I went back to Italy. I'm Italian, by the way, based in Firenze, Florence, I don't know how you call here. And went back to Italy. Then I went to important design school in Los Angeles, Pasadena, called ArtCenter College of Design, where I stayed 5 years. Then back to it, and again in Detroit, where I was the chair of the product design department at the College for Creative Studies for 17 years. Teaching and running a department and giving, do direction to the industry to follow, then the students to follow, to go in a new direction. That means the importance of design, there's not just to make more products, that we have so many.
At CCS, so there was a colleague, maybe must be a junior colleague of yours. He said he worked for the Indian Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan, where they developed the bodysuit for him.
Yes.
And he was so appreciative that, the kind of collaboration that was possible. I think that was his own separate professional work out of his space.
Yes.
But that's the kind of work probably, your product design department was doing.
So. We were trying to push as much as possible interactive work, interdisciplinary work. And I was the chair of the product design department undergraduate, and my partner was the chair of a graduate program that the last name was not the user experience, it's service design. Service design. And so together we were doing auto stuff. Service design, what is that? It's not to design product, but it's to design needs, to understand the needs. Working the needs, you understand the needs, and you work on new typology of product. They are not the existing one. We don't need another product, but we need some product that don't exist yet, but can create something better for humanities. So this is overall part of my background. And now I moved back in Italy, where I stay there and try to be consultant for organizations, schools, or companies, stuff like that. But again, I repeat, the important moment of my life when I was a student, working with some faculty, try to figure out what I wanted to do and to challenge the status quo, the situation, to make something relevant. There was not another product to make something, I repeat myself, but try to understand what design for the future. So I'm happy of what I accomplished in my life, in the sense that, then we are also talking, you want to have, in your life, you want to have something, a career, a job, whatever, that gratify yourself, that you wake up in the morning and you must be happy.
What I hear is that participation in competitions, international competitions is key. Because I think that's where you got the...
Participation, international competition is key. It's important to expose your work outside as much as possible. At that time, I was talking about publication. We didn't have internet. We didn't have anything. So the media, the published paper was the most important thing, the magazine and books and so on. Now it's a completely different, but the visibility of your work is the most important thing. And I realized also now that when my students were having some project published on a digital magazine, there are so many now, their confidence improved a lot. So if you don't see your product there, it's not just Instagram, Facebook, whatever is there. Something where other people can go and watch what you are able to do. And when you are there, you start to realize that you compete. That it's possible also for you to compete with the big name and so on. That increase the confidence. And this is what you need to do. So to show the work outside, now there are competition. In the past were even more important. I know that in Asia they are extremely important because bring you to your resume curriculum, as you call, to a completely different level. That is crucial, but your work must be seen outside of the school more than your friends. Instagram is okay, but there are other tools that now you have the freedom to use, and I recommend you to use, because it's very important for your confidence and to compete in a larger scale with whatever is happening outside. So this is a kind of overall introduction, and probably, with images, you will go to a website, I can talk forever because every project has a couple of years of work. But probably now it's also, if you have any question, so we can create a better conversation here.
For young people, what do you think are the traits to really be accomplished as a designer?
So first thing, to understand who you are, where you are, and what you want to do. Then create passion. And I think that in my career, what supported me a lot was passion. If you have passion, the things that you like to do is not a job, it's a passion. I worked together with some partners, with a partner for many years. We both have passion about things, and we did so many things together. But with the passion, we work non-stop for day and night. Because if you do a job that you say, okay, I got some money, I survive, the family survive, it's killer for your brain and for yourself. If you have the passion, you have some goals, create some goals as soon as possible. Because if you have some goals, you can go in that direction to put your efforts to accomplish those goals. If you don't have, so I don't know what to do. So try to figure out as soon as possible, because in this environment, you have the possibility to interact with any kind of friends, people, faculty, institution, and so on. So this is the time that you can develop that. I know that it's very difficult because a lot of people doesn't know what to do, what they want to do, if design and fashion is the right career. Try to figure out as much as possible, because it's crucial. Set up some goals and create a passion in the things that you are trying to do. Try to ask other people, to have people that support you to finalize and support you in the goals. What you can do outside of here, how you can create an impact in the society. These are all stuff that, is just more than just to make some profits for your pocket, but for your life are very important. I know that it's not easy when you are young and you just started to figure out what you are doing in an environment like this, but this is what you have the freedom now and the time to do that. So as I explained before, that I create my career when I was a student, use the time.
As you have been part of both academics as well as industry, how important are the hands-on skills in the industry? Like whatever you have learned in your schools, or the skills that were hands-on, how much are they
So this is very important. The skills are very important, and relation. Whoa, can you hear better?
Yeah.
The relation with the industry. In my case, I was a product designer, so then this is the difference between artist and product designer. I always wanted to relate to the industry, not just with product, but also with visions to go in new direction. So this was my main focus in my main career. If you go to the website, you see what I manufacture. You don't see many air dryer or coffee machine, but you see products that were provocative, just to create a reaction. And when I just graduated as a designer, I wanted to have something in production. And Italy, Milano is a kind of mecca for a lot of designers. You have a lot of furniture industry, so the main goal was to design some product for them. And then I realized that to really deal with those kind of industry was not interesting for me. But you know, most of the people make a living with that. So to have the skills that to communicate to those companies that you are a good designer and so on, very important. And you learn, in the school you learn the skills. But now, everything is changing, so in addition to the skills, you must have the critical thinking that position you in a better way compared with thousands of other designers like you that are graduating from the design schools. Everything is extremely important. Use the space, the time that you have here to get as much as possible. Also to give back, because when I was a student collaborating with the faculty, with the professor, was interaction. When we were participating in competition, was a teamwork, working together to change something in the status quo of the situation. And we participate to a lot of competition. From the success of the competition, we start to be invited in exhibitions. And we start from that, you know, to build a career and then to arrive somewhere. I told you the competition in Japan changed my life because I was invited to be there, and I was dealing with the big industry because I was doing also research how the manufacturing system was developing in Japan during economic boom at the end of the 80s, and I had the chance to visit so many companies there, from the car industry to the high-tech industries and so on, and to talk with the manager there to think what the future will be. Of course, a lot of things change. Now everything is changing much faster. So this is your challenge, try to figure out. In the recent year, we also have disruptive technology like artificial intelligence. I will not talk about that much, but it's important to manage that. I'm not scared about that. It's important to have, to use, and also the critical thinking will help you to manage those kind of advantage that technology is providing. So you can use, but you know, and one of the trends that is happening, the humanistic discipline, the people that can think can be more effective in the changing that happening in the future due to the technology. It's a big challenge, but you know, take the opportunity. This is why you are here in this context to improve.
I strongly feel with AI, you know, what is the input that you're giving that's what the output you will get, right? So for an input, it's very important for you to develop your critical conceptual thinking. And that is only when you do some hands-on work, really get the true experiential knowledge. And that's what not AI has, right? AI is data driven. And whatever data, it's whatever goes in, you know, the kind of quality of input will actually decide the output. So they were just saying, you know, how in the war as well, how Claude actually was used in the war. But they were actually tracking every minute of the data of certain things, and that's how they could get certain results. So which means that you need to be also, who's feeding the data, right? Again, who's the mind behind that? That mind itself is very important. So you need to be that mind, right? And that's where I think AI, where you can really leverage AI. That's what my understanding about AI is. So while it is doing a lot of our tasks, but it's very, very key and important for us to understand that our learning journey, and I think what he was sharing right now was his learning journey. And that's what makes him proud, you know, not what AI did for him, but what he has done as a person, yeah, in his journey, right? Starting from a student to the competition, to the accomplishment, to the name, the fame, and where his product is right now in Detroit in the museum, right? That's the story he has. And I think
then according to what you put inside, you can get something out. And this is similar to our brain. If you don't put anything here in, it's very difficult to get something out. So this is why in an environment like this, that is in a school, education, is the important the most important time of your life. And this is why use as much as possible to absorb as much as possible. And the skills are very important, but also whatever that is coming in the society, in a larger scale, whatever can help for the future to have a better results, more intriguing, more interesting.
So the Japanese already gave Society 5.0.
Right.
Japan gave the idea of Society 5.0. Today, design is all about applying it to the society, looking at what a community needs, what people need, right? It's not about anymore about products, because there's abundance of products, abundance of services, more and more. But how can you serve with every product? How can you serve the society, right? Today, it's not about creating an aspirational value. It's all about really catering to the real-time needs of people, right? And I think that's where each student has an opportunity to really distinguish who they are for their community, who they are for their people. You can start local, become global, right? That's the kind of power that we have today when the world is so flat. Everything is accessible to everybody.
Everything, yes. There was not when I graduated. When I moved in Japan, I went the first time for the competition, get the prize and be happy. 85. I was invited to teach there 88. At that time, Japan was a strange entity.
Really? After the war?
That means coming back, we would say, hey, it's true that the Japanese eat rare fish. Sushi was not trendy things to have.
Okay.
So when I was jumping on the plane, the doors closed, I'm going to Japan. No internet, telephone, very expensive. Newspaper you have, but you cannot read. Then no internet. Phones was another thing that, you answer, oh, they speak in Japanese. Okay. So all the stuff that were around me were kind of abstract. And this was one interesting experience that I say always traveling, and I go to the internationalism. Travel helps a lot because you discover new cultures, not only, but also helps to understand your own culture in a better way. And as a designers, we have, it's important for us we design for the people, whatever we do. So to understand the general context, that what's happening around us is crucial to avoid repetition stuff that are, just to make profits for some company that create more pollution, more stuff and so on. So it's very important to understand the bigger context where you can act. And that for me was incredible experience. For me was like to be born a second time, because whatever I learned in my previous 30 years were useless.
Yeah.
Useless. So it's like to be born a second time. Now, wherever I travel, I feel home because I learned the mechanism to get used to different cultures. But that time was a big shock. When I was, at that time, I decided to get subscription to a new daily newspaper, 1 day per week, because it was very expensive. And then 1 week after. But I was out of sync, so it didn't make any difference. 1 week before, 1 week after, I was getting every week some information. But this was the kind of life that was not many years ago, the experience. So learning step by step, and the evolution of technology. Computer was something new. When I graduated, I designed a wearable computer, but was designed by hand.
So when they come to you, they say AI was something new, right? They say we never saw what was AI was just emerging, right? And then AI would have evolved so much, right?
How to manage the changes.
So every time there is something disruptive, there is something new that you have to learn. So it's not that you are in some special times. No. Always, after the Second World War, the world was devastated, right? They had to have product designers who could create new industrial products, right? There were no products, there were no services which actually eased people's lives. And that was the need of the hour. So I think design has always served the needs of people, communities. Now today it's about the society at large, that how you can serve. Yeah. So, we in India, we have a saying, diya tale andhera. which means that below the lamp is darkness. So as young people, because it's always dark there, the light doesn't fall there. So as young people, we generally try and always see what's the greener pastures, what is opportunity somewhere else, rather than seeing that the opportunity is lying in your own space, just close to you in your backyard, right? So we don't know the people, the resources, the indigenous knowledge systems, the traditions, the customs. And it's very surprising that, most of the new brilliant ideas that have come from the world, it is where people have looked at their own roots and developed them. And that's what they're known for. So today in the morning, I read this very beautiful, thing from a very big industrialist in India. And he says, there is this ritual in the same place where I traveled, which is Uttarakhand, which is in the mountains, right? That's the mountain region of our country where you have the Himalayas in the backdrop. And they said that the kids would go, and because it's springtime, they would keep a flower at the doorstep of every home, right? The kids, right? And they would go and then, as a surprise, give them the flower. And in return, they would get sweets, And so he says, it's such a beautiful thing. And across India also, we do not know about it. And similarly, in the West, they have the Halloween, right? The kids would go from door to door and they would, scare them or do something of funny stuff and get something in return, right? So they said, the whole idea of celebration of every, season, every opportunity, how that can really make a difference to our communities in a very big way. So I think these are where small little ideas are, young people can look at them making even larger than life.
Yeah.
I think that's where design probably needs to, young people have a lot of opportunity today, a lot of opportunity. And I think the internet has made the world so friendly.
Friendly, connect.
And yet we are fighting so much. Can you imagine? And while we see this as strange, because we talk about liberty, peace, equality, these are the values of the world. The real people who are making, they are thinking something else, right? So I think the goodness resides because of people like you and me who are thinking about these values, not of the people who are fighting at the other end. And still the world is a better place to live. Huh?
It is.
Yeah.
I have something on the website. There's my last name, I, A, V as in Victor, I, C, O, L, I. Perfect, that one. Okay, so this is another system. Check the images. It's the workdays there is updated till a few years ago. Then I told you, being in education, there are probably some videos that can explain better what I was doing in education too, where you see interview of me, movies, something like that. There is a documentary they have done on me, so you can navigate that. And if you have any question, there is also the address if you want to contact me. So as you see, that the work done is not for mass production, but to convince the people to the industry to follow. So after my graduation, was not easy to convince the people to invest. A big push, and this is another important thing, after I won a competition in Japan with the wearable computer, I wanted to try to convince the Japanese to support my research. Didn't work. They consider me like crazy. When I became a professor in Japan, the credibility went like this. So as a sensei in Japan, you can do whatever, and they start to sponsor project on what I was doing. So it means I was the same one. I didn't change, but the situation changed, and from craziness, they were thinking I was not good, then became guy to follow, to listen. Anybody else have seen the website? It's connected? If you want,
We have 4 Parisian students here with us who are from Vicolboul. and they are here on a jewelry
Perfect.
design exchange program.
Perfect. Welcome to Jaipur.
Any more questions? See, as an educator, he's seen different decades. So you can ask him, how do you see students now? And what is that we need to do? And versus what it was. That little distinction. There will be some difference, right? Because generations have moved on.
There are a big difference. Every
big
decade is different. And I told you when I started, there were Apple computer was introduced in the market the year that I graduated, 84. No internet. Now technology changed. My doctor went to a doctor. My son went to a doctor recently. The doctor asked me a fax. What is that? Probably you don't know what fax is. But it's, these are the step of evolution of technology during the years. The fact was a system to send documents on paper, fax machine. And now you have this ocean in front of you. There's artificial intelligence and all the doors that is opening, and the new career that artificial intelligence is opening, that you must
So they are in a world full of abundance. They're lucky beings.
Absolutely.
They're lucky beings, We had to
Absolutely.
go, find, search. Now you click a button and there is a search opens up, right? And then you have to go through 10,000 books, you have to see, you have to research what fits your mind,
Never
what does
ending.
not. And there's so much of work one had to do. And that's why the brain is active, right? So now they say this generation has a lower IQ than their parents because the experiential learning is minimized. But we at Arch, we try and enforce that they are hands-on all the time, because when the hand works, that's when the brain works, right? And we try so that it becomes more as a part of your experience, right? And that experience you can apply in any realm of your life. You will see that in the later part. Now, when he says he's traveling across the globe now, he doesn't say, in the world of AI, I'm scared, this is new, I'm 70 or I'm 60, I'm scared.
Not yet.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Close.
60. Close to 60? Close to 60?
Close to 70.
Close to 70, right? So he'd say, he doesn't say that because his brain is mature to grasp and adapt to any environment. That adaptability is very, very key.
Absolutely.
That resilience is very, very key. And that resilience only comes with hands-on and hard work. Travel. Now look at all the four of them, They have come on their own from Paris to India, in the time of stress, right? Because they were brave. Now traveling is I remember, what happened with me? I started the school, it was just in 2 rooms. I went to De Montfort University, Leicester, to do a course in contour design for 1 month. And I took a loan from the bank. In India, you don't take loan for education, right? I took a loan as a young girl. I'd never traveled in India alone, never in India alone, never anywhere. And I am landing directly into the UK.
Do we have a chance to see something?
Presentation?
Just a short video
yes,
to
we can.
finish this,
Kar sakte?
because it's
Actually, we have the IT person who's changed now, and the new guy is still not familiar. So probably we can, if you share it with me on the WhatsApp, I can share it with the students.
It's in the website. There is a video, the state of design. It's a documentary that they have done on me. They will tell the story when I was a world traveler, not the designers, world traveler.
Cool.
With a backpack, different times.
Right now, so you must be feeling very easy. But I can see the eyes are very inquisitive. They all want to know and they want to hear. So guys, just come up, because the world has changed. You don't need to be so careful and so,
In that video, you will see.
Yeah.
That,
Otherwise, he carries an impression about India.
No, it's
Chup raho. Don't ask questions. Ask
No,
questions.
no, that means I'm experienced with Japan 2 days, even less.
Yeah, even the Chinese, the Japanese, they don't
So
talk at all.
in that video, you will see it's a documentary they've done on my life. And I didn't study design first. What I was saying, at your age, it's difficult to decide what to do. And when I entered the university, I applied to agriculture. But then I realized that was not my area. So at the age of 21, I traveled from Italy to United States. So at that time, the travel was, you will see some image. I was with a backpack, and I traveled for a long time by myself. And that was also something that helped me to discover myself. That now it's a different time and it's not common to do that anymore. But for me, it was very important. Some people that at a certain time, they like to take a break to really understand what to do. And so the international travel is something that can support that, because what I was telling, not only discover new culture, discover better your culture, but you learn about yourself, your strength and your limits.
So you visited the fort in the morning, but you haven't visited the Hawa Mahal, which is the Wind Palace, yet?
I will go. Is this one?
So it's the window of the Wind Palace. So we bought the Wind.
Perfect.
Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So it's been done by the jewelry design department, and it's
wonderful. Is this for me?
Yes, it's for you.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.